Alrighty. So, we're doing Gaming Week. And one thing that is really amazing about games, what is iconic, is the soundtrack. That what really gets you immersed into the world and have you feel like you're part of something. Yeah, that you're doing something really really cool is the soundtrack that goes with it. Everyone knows that, when there's a horror movie, it's only scary because of the music. And in the same way, with video games, it's a large portion of the fun is the soundtrack. And so it's not surprising to me that you know more iconic songs from different games, different soundtracks, well, they would become popular. And you see this all the time with like RuneScape sea shanty. Like, how many streamers play that, right? Or World of Warcraft music. That's pretty epic and exciting, and that gets played everywhere. But one song that I think gets played uh, almost more than any other game soundtrack song, at least on YouTube, um, and that's Megalovania. That's by Toby Fox, who made Undertale, right? He remixed it a few different ways for a few different games at this point, but he made the song, right? And the question is, why? Why is that song so popular? Well, it speaks to people, right? It's this epic song that plays during this epic boss battle in Undertale, and it's like Sans is like fan favorite character. He's got a great soundtrack to go with it. It makes sense that it'd be a popular song, right? But but the thing is, there's a lot of things that are popular, but you don't see them as much on YouTube. Many songs are way more popular than Megalovania. So why are all these YouTubers using Megalovania and not those other songs? And so the answer is that YouTube has a particular copyright system. That if you use someone else's song, they're allowed to, claim your video, right? That they're allowed to, you know, take revenue from the YouTube creator, whether it's your song, your movie, whatever. And so the thing is, Toby Fox doesn't do that. Everyone does different remixes and iterations on Megalovania, and pretty much people just let it go. They just let it happen, and they have fun. And I think that a fair portion of why Megalovania is so popular is because everyone feels comfortable using it. There's nothing hanging over your head saying, oh man, you're going to have to pay me money in order to play this song. Or if you don't pay me money or you don't give me credit or whatever it is, well then I'm going to come after you. Toby Fox doesn't do that. And so everyone knows, hey, you can just play the song and it's fun. It's a good time. It's a good song. And you're all good. Nothing's going to happen to you. And it's the same way with other game soundtracks as well. They make the decision that even though YouTube's rules are in a certain way and you can you have the copyright for the song and you could go after those people, they choose not to. And that creates a culture of sharing and creating and growing. And that's one of the amazing things about gamers, right? Is that we're this big old culture where we build and iterate on each other, we learn from each other, we grow from each other, and that's really good. And this is one way where that happens, is through this music. The issue is, not everyone plays that way. Not everyone does things that way. That there's these big giant companies that say, hey, you're going to play our song for 5 seconds on your 20-minute YouTube video? Forget about it. We're going to claim all of your revenue. And that makes it feel like there's anxiety. That like, oh my goodness, I'm going to get punished if I don't expunge this popular song from my video. That unless I eradicate these songs, I'm not going to be able to, make content anymore. That's how many creators feel. And when you feel that way, you start to resent the song. The song isn't what's harming you, it's people that are harming you, but you hate the song because of what it represents now. Because songs are only good because they represent something good. Megalovania is just sounds, right? There's nothing intrinsically valuable about it. They're good sounds, sure, but like, why any better than anything else? No, it's because it's Sans song, right? It's because when you hear that, you can imagine, oh, it's all these memes that you've experienced and they're fun. It's the game that you've played and it's fun. It's this community and everyone bouncing back and forth and it's fun. Like, it's all of the associations that come with the music that make it valuable. And so when someone says, no, you cannot take my song. You can't play my song. It makes you feel like you're on the outside. That the reason Megalovania is a great song is not because it's so ingeniously crafted and architected in a way that you plebeians could never do. Like, no, it's not something incredibly amazing. It's iconic. And it's iconic because of what it represents, what it's been used for. What it means today, not the day that Toby Fox wrote it. The day Toby Fox wrote it didn't mean anything. In fact, the first couple games he tossed it into, it didn't mean anything. But then once Undertale came out, oh man, big hit sensation, amazing song. Because it meant something. And now what I'm seeing is when I was growing up, I would listen to songs, and everyone around me would sing the song and quote the lyrics and play around with it and have fun. But now that we have this big, giant community of people all around the world, we can't do that with each other. We can't play off of each other and iterate and grow and make jokes and have fun. That gets censored unless you pay up. And so there shouldn't be a culture tax, but there is. But no one's going to pay that, because who cares? The song wasn't important. It's not that great a song. No song is so great that it's worth the money it costs, right? There's another song. There's so many songs in the world. Why would I care about your song in particular, right? And so, what we're going to talk about today is exactly this concept. Because it not only applies to the copyright of music, but copyrights and patents of ideas in general. That when someone has a good idea, somehow, some way, we've got it in our heads that because they have that idea, no one else is allowed to. That they hit the buzzer first, and now everyone else who has the same idea, illegitimate. even if they thought of it on their own. Even if they took that idea and grew it into something more. Well, no, they'll still sue you. And that's a culture tax. An idea tax that says, sure, you could use it, but you got to pay me a handful of money first. And that just slows things down. People have this idea that intellectual property is something intrinsically valuable because you did it. But that's not really true. A lot of things are valuable because of the people who consumed it. Like, Disney is the biggest offender for this. But Mickey Mouse is only valuable because people like Mickey Mouse. You could make any character. Walt Disney could have made any character at all. And, you know, if it was just as fun and just as exciting and just as funny and playful, yeah, people would probably have liked that too. And, you know, you could do the same with other characters. Oh, there's so many other characters in the world. Walt Disney didn't make them all. And so, in the past, companies, large organizations full of people, they had to pay that culture tax. And they could afford it. They could say, oh, well, we're this, you know, we have 2,000 employees. We can afford your little petty culture tax to, you know, merchandise Mickey Mouse or whatever it is, right? We can do that. We can afford that. But the average person, not so much. You're not going to pay hundreds of dollars so that way you can, you know, create a Mickey Mouse eraser. It probably costs way more than that. Probably thousands. But that's how copyright works. And patents are the same way. Patents, there's this idea that, okay, we're going to patent, let's say a drug, right? We patent this drug, and now only we're allowed to make it. But, you know, the chemical combinations, yeah, sure, you've tested and validated that they work. Great job. But don't pretend like it's some genius thing that only you could have done. You picked a chemical combination. Other people were picking chemical combinations. You picked that one. And because you picked that one, you know, turned out to be useful. There was other ones that you tried that weren't useful. But they're going to get a patent on it so that way no one else can have it. So that way no one else can say, oh, well, turns out it's not only useful for this purpose that you said, but it's useful for this other purpose as well. But if someone did that research, it'd be pointless. Because they're trying to see if this compound that someone else will make money off of is useful. And so you see, the argument that they need to patent it in order to make money, in order to make it worth, yes, it is a motivating factor. Absolutely. Of course it's a motivating factor. So now that company that has that patent, has that drug on lock, they are motivated to make something out of it. Absolutely. And in a timely manner, too. Because otherwise the patent will run out. But then there's all the other people who could have said, oh, you know what? You're saying it might be useful? Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll see if it's useful. All of those people don't get to try. Because they're de-incentivized. You see, patents only incentivize one person, one company, and de-incentivize everyone else. And so the equation that people never think to do is which one is better. To have one person try things out, or to have a whole group of people try things out. And this is the thing. When you have a whole group of people try things out, there's this competition, there's iteration, there's optimization. And so, the end product will probably not be as profitable as when there was a patent. But the winner, the one who wins that contest and makes the best product, well, the product will be far superior than when there was just a patent. And so the question is, are we optimizing for incentive to do things, or are we optimizing for the best thing being done? And that's a real question. And this is where different people disagree. And it's fine to disagree. But the important thing is not, oh, patents should go away tomorrow, never have a patent, or patents are so great, let's have them on everything. The important thing is to understand the cost. That every time you have a patent, there's a cost on society to it. There's a culture tax. There's X amount of people that aren't going to play your song when they otherwise would have. That there's Y amount of research dollars that were on research of a concept, not on a drug. But they would have used your drug, but they can't because you have a patent. There is this competition going on constantly. And with or without patents, that competition will still be there. But with patents, the competition looks different because there's this culture tax. And so, when you have something that you're not allowed to use, you're not allowed to try out, you're not allowed to iterate and improve on, well then, you just do something else. And that's fine. Megalovania is not that amazing of a song. I'm sure you could make a better one. But isn't it nice that instead of building your own thing, you could build on something that already exists and have that thing bring all of its meaning, all of its influence, all of its understanding to what you're doing? Wouldn't it be great that instead of us tearing each other down, we build each other up? And that's the issue with copyright and patents and all that stuff. Is it says by law, it's a cutthroat, dog-eat-dog world. There's one winner and the rest are losers. Whereas, if patents weren't a thing, copyright wasn't a thing, the winner is just the best, not the first. And so, yes, it's still probably a fierce competition. But to society, when you zoom out and say, oh no, it's not me and what I'm doing, that we're focusing on, but rather the culture as a whole, the society as a whole. It's iteration, it's growth, it's improvement, it's evolution. And that's the thing. Evolution is scary. It's like survival of the fittest, right? That most of Toby Fox's songs, no one has ever heard. But Megalovania, I would hazard to guess most of you have heard it. It's a pretty good song. And so not every single one will be a winner. And that's okay. Not every one of us has to be some amazing winner. The issue is, with a patent system, if you aren't the winner, you're left with nothing. Without patents, without copyrights, your wins will never feel as good. They won't be nearly as impactful. But you'll win a lot more. Small ones, little ones. Little incremental improvements. And this is the shift in mindset. These are the two ways to do things. And like I'm saying, I'm not saying that patents need to go away tomorrow. I do think that they should go away, though. Because how big should that tax be? Should that culture tax be? 10 years? 20 years? 100 years? How long until we're able to look back at something that was fun and engaging and exciting, that was good and helpful and useful? How long until we're able to look at that and say, oh, it turns out we could do this other thing with it. That this would be fun, this would be cool. How long do you wait? Because the longer you wait, the less meaningful that iteration's going to feel. Because it is amazing how many people still love the idea of, like, Dracula and Frankenstein. And they're playing around with those ideas today. And we got, all the different monsters and different types of ideas and different fantasy genres and all this kind of stuff. And that's all cool. Because, if you iterate on those ideas enough, maybe you'll get something cool. But if you patented the idea of a skeleton, right? Oh man, an undead skeleton? No, that's my intellectual property. You can't do that. You can't take that. There wouldn't be any Sans, would there? That when you gate culture, when you tax it and say you're not allowed to have culture for another 10 years, then you can look back and you can say, oh, look at that. Our culture was pretty good back then. And some people wonder why the younger generations are always looking back, are always nostalgic. As a millennial, I look back at my childhood and like, oh, those stuff were so amazing. Those were so cool. How much of culture today are we even allowed to share? It keeps getting less. So of course I look back. Of course I'm nostalgic. Back when I could be a person and I could share things and engage with people on common ideas. That was fun. That was good. And as things get more complicated, that goes away more and more. And it's very easy to think, oh, well, this artistic type of stuff and this like technological type of stuff, they're totally separate. They're totally different. But they're not. And that's the thing. With video games, they're not. Technology and art, that's the intersection video games dance. That's the intersection where they live. It's between technology and art. And so, whenever you gatekeep technology, you say, oh, only these certain companies are allowed to make VR games? Well, then you get less VR games. Less people can try things out and see if they can make something new and cool and interesting. Just doesn't happen. And that's the point today. Is that sharing ideas is good. Sharing ideas, it's never bad. The worst it ever is neutral. But when you control what ideas can get shared, what ideas can be, exchanged, that's a tax. That's a tax on culture. So that way, the person who made it, the person who came up with it first, who hit that buzzer and said, patent, so that they can get more money. That's all it is. So that individuals can get more money at the expense of society. It's theft. They never had to share it in the first place. And if they didn't want to share it, that's fine. You don't have to share with society. You don't have to share your ideas. But this concept that you can share it but no one else gets to, that's tyranny. That's horrible. That you have this special privilege. That you're allowed to come up with ideas. You're allowed to share ideas. You're allowed to grow and improve. And everyone else, nah. Their ideas are invalid. If they want to try something, they're not even allowed to. They can't even get things off the ground because it's illegal. And that's the thing here. There's far too much gatekeeping in this world. Far too many times where someone will say, you're not allowed to do that. You can't do it. Why? Because someone else should do it. It's someone else's job. That all this agency and power and ability to grow and improve and iterate that you learn from video games, you are not allowed to bring into the real world because then you'd be taking money away from me. But that's how the rules stand. That all of the good things that video games teach you, you're not allowed to practice. Because we don't actually want you to be smart and interesting and engaging and contribute to the world. What we want is for us to do that. So that way, I can do that and you can get left out in the rain. It's this concept that a few people need to feel special. They need to be the chosen ones, the amazing people that save the world from darkness. That their inventions are so incredible and oh my goodness, isn't that great? Aren't you happy that they're around? But the reason video games are so fun is because it doesn't matter who you are. Everyone is the chosen one. Everyone gets to be amazing, impactful, grow, and have experiences and have a story. And that's why we love him so much. And that's why it brings all of us together. Because we all want to be the same kind of people. We all want to be the heroes. We all want to be amazing. Patents and copyright, they don't let you be the hero. Because you're not the chosen one. Because if you were the chosen one, your name would be on that patent. Wasn't in the cards. Can't do it. Sorry. Try again. Maybe. So, don't listen to him. I'm not telling you to break any laws or anything, but I would say the degree to which you can get away with it is the degree to which you should do it. That if you could get away with, edging in on a patent or a copyright, and you could do some good in the world, probably a good idea. Because not only will it allow you to iterate and grow and improve things, but it'll help other people do the same. And that's important. It's important to realize that the real reason we love heroes is not because they do some great, amazing feat, but because the hero's journey ends with them coming back to the rest of us and giving us that special power, that special good thing, so that way we can be special too. And so, go ahead and have your story arc. Do your amazing thing, grow, improve, and let someone else have a chance too. Let someone else have a chance to do the same. It's only fair.